Hey, we are live again. If you were able to catch us at 8 o'clock, we did our nightcap. So that's for busy people, no matter what age you are, to kind of come get practical tools on how you can relax, how you can unwind, how you can rest from your day, either at the end of your day, the beginning of your day, or taking micro rest throughout your day and just holding on to that as you face difficult situation, harder days, and just dealing with day-to-day life. But now it is time for the Vent Live. I have a very special guest. Chris, you want to say hello?
Hi guys.
Hello, everyone. We are excited for you to join us for another Tuesday night live. If you are new to the Vent, Tuesday nights at 9 p.m., we are here for community conversation. We are here not for lectures, not because there's one person talking and everybody is listening. This is communal. We know that everyone brings value to our conversation. We know that everyone brings value to our community. The beauty in our community is that it's so diverse by age, by geographical location, by life stage. There's so many differences that we have that often bring us together and allows our conversations to be so rich because we come from different perspectives, we have different life experiences, and we're able to share with each other. And there are also places where we just connect and we are very much we can help each other out, and we're able to give advice so that we can lend that to our partners, to our friends, to our acquaintances, and help us work through life, through jobs, through careers, through ministry, through dealing with difficult people. I saw a book, speaking of difficult people, because that's one of the things we're going to talk about tonight. I saw this book about how to hug a porcupine. Have not read the book yet, but I thought it was just interesting how to embrace people and really be around people who may give you a difficult time sometimes. Sometimes it's our bosses, sometimes it's our coworkers, sometimes it's the people we love the most. But tonight's conversation is really holding on to our hope, holding on to our peace, holding on to our sanity as we move forward. Yes. And my godmom is on. Yes, you cannot please everyone. And that's part of our conversation as well, knowing that we cannot be people pleasers. Everyone will not be satisfied with every decision that we make. So we want to have peace and we want to hold on to our hope, even in moments where it seems like we are frustrated, where the people around us may not be happy or completely satisfied, but understand that people are finicky. People change their minds all the time. And you may please one, but you can't please everybody. And guess what? That is okay. You are still doing a great job. You are still soaring. You are still going above and beyond in your own right. You are still skilled. You are still valuable. You still bring everything to the table and more. You still walk in excellence. And we believe that. And we know that, and we want you to hold on to that. So as we go through Thanksgiving, Christmas, and just 2024 going into 2025, we do not want you to let go of your hope, even in cold moments, weathering storms, and facing difficult family members and friends and coworkers. Ain't that right, Chris?
Yeah.
So it's episode 29. Can y'all believe it? Reverend Lawrence is on. Hey, Tyler is on IG. I see y'all on IG. Hey, Tyler. Thanks for coming in. My godmom, Pamela Haney is on. Layla Williams. Hey, girl. Hey, thanks for coming in. So we're gonna start our conversation, and the big part of this is if you think about an ember is part of a fire that even after the fire dies down, right? Even after the coldness comes, even after difficult times come, even after some things end, it's still this piece of wood or this piece of coal that continues to burn after the fire is out. So that's the gist of our conversation tonight. Even when things aren't the best, we can still have this ember, this fire inside of us that continues to go even when things are not ideal. So let's start. Let's hop in. You ready to hop in, Chris?
Yeah.
You with us? So the first part of our conversation is really centered around you, right? We only exist because you're here. So the first question I have for our audience, and I would love for you to respond, and even if you don't want to respond out loud, think about it to yourself or answer to yourself. How do you tend to your inner fire when life feels cold or overwhelming? So, how do you tend to yourself? How do you keep things going even when it's not an ideal situation? Here's another way we can ask this question. So, how do you tend to your inner fire, or what does hope look like for you in the middle of challenging times? So, Chris, I would like to ask you, when you're facing difficult things, when things aren't going your way, when you may be dealing with some difficult people or facing like a hard class or, just dealing with people who may not like you, what are some things that you're able to do or hold on to in those moments?
It's like, okay, so I know that things are reality and they're always going to be reality, but sometimes I just like to leave that situation where it is. And when I
Okay.
get home or get to whatever safe space I'm in, I can just be there and think about my feelings.
Okay.
And
So you're reflective. So
Mhm.
things are happening around you. You may not respond in the moment, but you go, you reflect, you take quiet time and think about it, and then you deal with it there. That's good because many of us, if we react off the cuff, you can raise your hand and be honest. We all often have our moments where if we react off the cuff, it is not the best, right? If you react in a moment, it's like, I should have waited. I should have thought about what I said before I said it. I was meeting with a group of girls even today, and they took a reflective take on what some things that happened. Maybe they got suspended or some things happened, and they said, you know what, I could have done this, right? If I could go back, and these are middle school girls, right? They were like, if I could go back to that moment, I would have just walked away. If I could go back to that moment, I would have responded differently, right? And as adults, we can often take that same thing. I can be reflective, like Kristen just said, instead of reacting in the moment. Let me take a moment and just back up. Let me go into my inner peace, into my Zen moment. And then maybe thank you, Chris, for saying that. Um, Pamela Haney, this is my godmom, y'all. She said, I remind myself that I have a purpose and this is happening for a reason. I just need to do the best I can and give the rest to God and keep it moving. That is so good because we don't want a big phrase, a popular phrase, right? Is don't make permanent decisions in temporary situations. So what you don't want to do is go off and now you have to deal with having a record or now you have to deal with, having this tagline on you that people now assigned you. Oh, that's the lady that go off all the time. That's the man that can't hold his temper, right? Because now this is a temporary situation that made you uncomfortable, made you upset, but you now made a permanent decision. So what we want to do again, remind ourselves of our purpose. And for a lot of people, that may be remember your why. Right. A lot of people think about that in business, but also in life. Like, remember why you do what you do, whether it's because you're passionate about it, because you care about people, because you want to succeed. If you remember your why, that can help us during times of burnout, but they can also help us in moments where our fire is dying down, and that remembering your why may be that ember that you can hold on to. That's that piece that's still burning. What you think, Chris?
I agree.
You agree with that? Well, as long as you agree, I'm good. So as we look at that and kind of move into, we only have, I think, 3 points for this conversation as well. Our big thing is one, you want to embrace the fullness of your emotions. We talk about this and we're going to continue to talk about it. I'm an educator at heart as well as at one time by profession. Embrace the fullness of your emotions. You can be happy and sad and excited and anxious at the same time, and that is okay. We said it before, we're gonna say it again because I really want you to believe it. You could be happy, sad, excited, have anxiety, be frustrated all at the same time. Embrace the fullness of your emotions. Don't push them away because you're like, oh, it's holiday season, I should be happy. You can be happy and you can be grieving because this holiday looks a little bit different. And we also have a quote that goes along with that. Chris, do you mind reading that quote for us?
I have learned that I must take care of myself in ways no one else can.
So for me, I would like to know what that means for you. But for me, that means that in those moments where I'm experiencing multiple emotions, where I feel conflicted because I'm excited, like, like you're facing something new, you're excited, but there's also some anxiety there because it's like that fear of the unknown, right? Or holiday season, you are looking forward to it, but you're also a little nervous because you don't want a whole bunch of people asking you questions or trying to figure out, what's been new since last year. It may not be anything new, or maybe some new things you don't want to share. Or it may be those times where maybe you're grieving. You lost a loved one. This is a new holiday or another holiday that feels new because it's different from what it was like last year, right? So that means that people are looking like, man, how are you able to still hold your head up after that? How are you able to smile knowing that you've lost these things? I can take care of myself in ways that no one else can, because they'll never understand the complexity of who I am, and that's okay. Right? So we want to look at that. What does that kind of say to you, or how do you navigate those spaces, Chris?
I think that it means like people can do so many things for you, but they don't know exactly how you're feeling and they don't know exactly where you are. So only you can go back and say, this is what I'm going to do about this situation, and this is how I feel on this situation. And
That's
that
good.
person will never be in a space like that because they aren't you.
That's good. So we also have to give other people grace, because often people will try to help us, but they don't really know what to do. But they have to understand. We have to understand that they are literally not in our shoes and in our mind and in our space. So they don't, even when they try to help from a very positive space. Excuse me. We have to give them the grace of, okay, they're trying. So we don't want to overlook how they're trying to help us, right? But even in that as well, you want to make sure that you're taking care of that inner fire and keeping it going by having accountability, by having people that you can talk to and be open with, as well as knowing that nobody can take care of you outside of God. Nobody can take care of you to the capacity all the time that you want them to, even with their best efforts. So don't give those people a hard time when they're trying to help you out and they trying to look out for you and they trying to do something nice. Be grateful for it, right? Because they could be like, oh, okay, you'll be all right, right? It could be fair, it could be different. So hold on to that ember that people love you and care for you, and they're doing their best. And they're often doing their best even when they're dealing with difficult situations as well, right? So we always want to extend grace to people, because they don't, like my grandma say, people don't have to do nothing nice for you, right? But they do it out of the kindness of their heart. So we want to make sure that we honor that in a way that we let people know that we're grateful for them. The next thing we want to look at, right? We looked at, keeping the embers going, understanding that there is power in rest and reflection. You are not weak because you rest. You are not incapable because you rest. You are not unable to do things because you need some time, like Kristen said, to pause and reflect. But there's so much power in resting, taking care of yourself, and even just having the awareness to say, you know what, I need to stop. There's power in that, right? There's power in saying, and maturity in saying, I'm not going to react right now. I'll come back and revisit this. Right now, I need to step away. Right? The easy thing to do is to pop off at the mouth and do something in the moment. The harder thing to do is to say, you know what? Hold on. Let me reflect on this. Let me think on this, and I'll come back in a little bit. Right? That's the more difficult thing at times to do. And also knowing that as you're off work, let me go back. I want us to really see there's power in rest and reflection. As you have downtime, a lot of companies are slowing down at the end of the year. A lot of businesses, schools, you have like fall breaks and winter breaks and holiday breaks, and you're coming to the end of the quarter, and many people are just done. Like, we're just preparing for the next year because it's holiday season for many of us. But know that rest and reflection is a very needed space for all of us. So it's not idle, it is not unproductive, but it is power in saying, you know what? Stillness does not mean idleness. Stillness does not equate to unproductivity. Stillness equates to recharging. It equates to refreshing. It equates to you really taking it all in so that you're able to get what you need to keep going. Chris, can you read our next quote for us?
Mm-hmm. Rest is not a luxury, but a right, especially during emotional taxing seasons.
Good job. So rest is not something that, you know, I'll get to that in a little bit. Rest is not a luxury that some people get to have and other people don't. Rest is not a luxury, like we talked about a couple nights ago, that you have to pay for. Like, if I get these 5 things done, if I get these 10 things done, then I award myself or reward myself with no. Rest is your right. You have the right to sit down, to take a break, to lay down, to have a nice hot tea or coffee or whatever it is that you like. You have the right to rest. It is not a luxury or something that you can afford to put off, because the more you put it off, the harder it's going to be on your body to continue to function, especially during emotionally taxing time. You ever been stressed and you get a headache? Or have you ever been stressed and you're mentally stressed, but your body start to feel sick? Have you ever been stressed and you have like a brain fog where you can't think straight or you can't really get it together and you go to sleep but you're still tired? Anybody ever been there? You ever had those moments where you have so much on your plate and you mentally have a lot on your plate, but then your body, you're coughing, you're sneezing, you have a sore throat, you're dragging through the day, and you're like, I went to bed. It's because you did not allow your mind to rest. So it's mental fatigue now that's now affecting your body because you're thinking about this person and that person and what so and so said, and the emails you got to follow up on, and the parents that you call, and the people that you got to follow up for. You're thinking about all these things. And it is not a luxury for you to rest. Your mind literally needs the time, because now why you're feeling that way is because it's affecting your blood pressure. A lot of headaches, like I get tension headaches. Let me go ahead and confess, because I'm stressed. So now my body is trying to figure out what to do with all this, and often I'll get a migraine, and I'm tired. Now my mental is affecting my physical. For whatever that could be, blood pressure, that could be so many things that it affects. It can affect your sleep, right? Because you know your body is tired, but your mind is still going, 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 going. So even though you're resting, you're not getting quality rest because you haven't allowed your mind to de-stress and disconnect from what you're thinking about throughout your day. So my challenge, and we talked about this, I think a couple nights ago, is, and I saw my godmom said she feels guilty when she's still. I think I need to be doing something. I'm struggling with that. And one thing we talked about is letting go of that guilt, that barrier. Guilt is a barrier to our rest. And one way we can do that is to start just instilling things like a journal and start brain dumping, right? Gratitude journal. Write down 3 things that you're grateful for, because it now reframes your brain from, oh, these are the things I didn't get done. I'm just sitting here and I still got this list. Oh, wait, pause. What am I grateful for in this moment? These things might not be done yet. Okay. They still gonna be there tomorrow. Things that I'm grateful for. Here are 3 things that I'm grateful for. It's also disconnecting from the phone, having micro rest throughout the day. Doing work, take 5 minutes. Doing work, take 10 minutes. Doing work, take a walk around. It's also body scanning. We talked about this on the vent nightcap. Your body scan is finding the points of tension in your body, where for many of us, especially in corporate and, depending on what type of environment you work in, you clench, right? And it's not on purpose, but it's really sitting there when you feel stressed and saying, oh man, I'm clenching my jaws right now. Let me relax my jaws. My shoulders are up here. Let me relax my shoulders. Where's the tension? It's literally scanning your body and your mind and saying, okay, where's the tension in my body? And it's releasing it. Oh, let me relax my shoulders. Let me sit back, because we'll sit up, and that's good posture. That's great. There are moments, just sit back. Just sit back for a moment, right? Just let your arms hang for a little bit. Relax your jaws, right? Unclench your jaws. Relax your feet. Let your pen go. It's having those micro moments. Breathe. Take some deep breaths and release them. Simple things throughout the day that you could do. Drink some water. Go outside, get some fresh air and some sunshine. Those things throughout the day will help you reframe what rest is. Because if you don't choose to rest, if you don't give yourself permission to rest, your body will take it often through sickness. It will make you so that you don't have a choice. And what we don't want is your only rest to be at home or in a hospital bed. That's what we do not want. Your body and mind, Miss Rosa said, body and mind connection and stress can kill you. Yes, having stress here causes heart attack, stroke, all types of things. So the point of us having these conversations, and the reason why we're doing them all the time, is because it's so important to rest. So my prayer for everyone, my hope, my dream is that we figure out how to not feel guilty about it and not feel unproductive or idle during times of rest, because it's literally a necessity for all of us. Your body cannot properly refresh itself and gain back strength unless you sit down somewhere and disconnect from your day. So find the time to rest. Find the time to stretch, whether you just do some stretches, you do some neck rolls, you do some toe, you don't have to touch your toes, but you bend over and you stretch towards your toes. You can, and again, YouTube is filled with just simple stretches that you can do throughout your day, as well as breathing techniques. And they sound really simple, but they really do help you. They really do help you out. So what we do not want is for you to get to the point where you're shutting down or where you feel things in your body. So eat, get your potassium, eat bananas, do the things that you need to do so that you are able to um, function properly, not to get more work done, but so that you are able to move about and do the things that you need to do for yourself as well at your optimal level. Hey, Miss So Blessed. Hey, Ruby. Thank y'all for coming on Instagram. Our third thing is boundaries. This is our last thing. Boundaries are an act of love. Now, again, a few people, and I've talked about having guilt when I don't do certain things or when I set certain boundaries, and many of us probably feel the guilt as well. Boundaries are an act of love. It's an act of self-love, and it's also an act of showing other people how to love you. I'm going to say that again. Boundaries are an act of love. It is an act of self-love, right? Creating boundaries to protect you and to take care of you. But they're also an act of showing other people how to love and treat you, right? So here we are. This is our last quote of the night. Chris, can you read that for us?
You teach people how to treat you by what you allow.
You teach people how to treat you by what you allow. And this is by Dr. Renita Weems, my favorite preacher, one of my favorite preachers in the whole world. She's an author, she's a scholar. But the gist of this is you teach people how to treat you by what you allow. So whatever you allow, if you say yes every time, if you answer the phone every time, if you do what they want every time, if the snap of the finger, you popping up and asking them how high to jump every time, guess what? You're teaching them how to treat. You can't blame them because you're always saying yes. You can't blame them because you're always doing it and you always showing up, even when you're tired, even when you don't feel well, even when you can do it. Let's say you can do it. The quality of what you do may not always be there, but teaching people how to treat you is one way that you protect yourself. So you can't just set the boundary. You have to abide by it just as much as the next person has to. So when you don't abide by boundaries, do you think somebody else is going to follow your boundary if you don't even follow it? Right. So one thing that I do, unless it's a family member or somebody that I'm close to, if you call me after like 9:00, you're going to have to talk to me the next business day or whenever I get a chance to call you back, because that's a boundary for me. Now, if I tell people, I don't really answer the phone after 9:00 and they call me and I answer the phone, guess what? I just told them that they're allowed to break that boundary because I answer the phone. They can call. And I tell people this all the time. People I work with, they be like, I'm put my phone on do not disturb and all this. I said, whether my phone on do not disturb or not, it's my phone. Right? And it can sound harsh, but if I'm at work all day and I'm doing things with other people all day and then I come home and I want to spend time with my family, y'all can't have my day and my night. You can have one or the other. You can't have both because my family is important and I am important to me. So if you call me at 9:00, you should know that you should leave a message or you should send a text, and your text will not get answered until the next day. Right? It's people all over in ministry, other places, text me at 10, 11 o'clock at night. Guess what? When they started getting responses at 9 and 10 o'clock the next morning, they stopped texting me at that time because I showed them that this is how you treat me. Now, you might do that with somebody else, but this is how you treat me. Right? And it's love because I love me and I love my family and I love the people that I love to spend time with. So anything outside of that, hey, but when that clock strikes 9, don't expect a response. Okay? And if it's an emergency, call 911. They got you. I promise they got you. They're going to show up real quick. I promise they will. Right? So those are the things. Mia said that I'm enforcing them big and bigger and the most 2025. I am here for it. She also says a hard lesson learned: no longer people pleaser with no boundaries. You can't do it. You're going to run yourself down. My godmom, Pam, she said, I learned this the hard way at work, just doing too much. And many of us are able, and I will say, to be honest, I am able to enforce these boundaries because there was a time when I did not, and I was upset and I was frustrated. But it's like, you cannot be upset and frustrated if you are the one accepting it. And that's across the board. That's with jobs, that's with family, that's with relationships, that's with whoever. If you don't abide by the boundary and set boundaries, you cannot be upset with other people for breaking them. You just can't. So you have to hold yourself to that boundary as well, and don't allow anything or anyone to cross that line. So the discipline is in keeping it up, not just setting it, but keeping it up. Lastly, find the embers of hope. So we talked about this. An ember is the coal or the wood or the person that keeps going even after the fire dies down. So for us, that may be, everything around me is looking crazy. However, I choose to hold on to my hope. Everything around me is shifting. Thanksgiving looks different. Christmas looks different. My workplace looked different. It wasn't like this last year. I felt better last year. My health was better last year. My money was different last year. I don't know what's going to happen come January. Whatever the case may be, you have to find something. Again, going back kind of to your why. Why am I doing this? What keeps you going? What keeps you excited? What keeps you pressing forward even when you hit obstacles, right? Because we know the obstacles will come, but what keeps you going even when the obstacles come? Chris, are there any things that you share about how you keep going even when you face difficulty or you face an obstacle? What keeps you going?
I just like to think about all of the things that I do that affect me positively. And it's so much better to look at those things and enjoy those things than to really dwell on the, oh, this is what this person thinks, or
That's
that's
good.
what that person thinks.
That's good. We can't dwell on the negative. We have to remember why and what, and going back to who we are. Because if you know who you are, it's easier for you to focus on these things. Just right. Hey, Jess, she's on Instagram. She said, no disrespect. She's when it comes to the boundary conversation, people are not mad when you uphold your standards. They respect it. Yes, because again, you're teaching them how to treat you. So if that's your standard, my choice, they either choose to or not. But they're the people that really care about you and respect you. They are gonna respect your boundaries. And the people who don't, guess what? They can go ahead on about their business because you don't want those people around you anyway. But part of letting the embers keep going is also this quote by Maya Angelou. Chris, if you don't mind reading it for us, please.
Every storm runs out of rain.
Every storm runs out of rain. And Chris and I kind of had this conversation before we went live. We talked about you have to keep going, because if you stop in the middle of the storm, you go always be in the storm. But if you keep going, y'all ever, let me ask this. Have you driving and it's raining? I mean, it's raining cats and dogs. It is coming down like crazy, right? And you keep going, you keep going, you keep going. It may be minutes, it may be hours, but you keep going. And then all of a sudden, the sun may not be all the way out, right? But it's no longer raining. But you can look back and you can still see where the rain was, right? Like, oh man. But if you would have stopped back there, you would have still been in the rain. But you now find yourself keep going, keep going, keep going. You may be in a new, for many of us, it may be a different mental or spiritual space. But for others, you were physically in a different geographical space where the rain was not. But if you would have stayed where you were, you would have still been in the storm. And who wants to stay in the storm when if you keep going, you can find your way on the other side of it? What you think, Chris? Do you want to stay in the storm?
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nobody trying to stay in the storm. So our encouragement with that is, even if the storm feel like it's going on forever and ever, there is nowhere in the world where it rains constantly. There is nowhere in the world where it just is raining, it's raining and raining and never stops. Eventually, the rain will stop. Eventually, you find yourself on the other side of it. Eventually, the more you go, the more that you keep pressing forward, the more that you're determined to hold on to your fire, right? You find yourself with the hope and you find yourself outside of that situation. It can't be bad forever. How many bad days have y'all had? Nope. You know what? That's not even a question. How many bad days have you made it out of? I can answer that for everybody. You have made it out of every bad day that you've had, right? Precious, hey, you have made it through every bad day. You have weathered every storm that came your way, no matter how bad it was, and even in moments where you were like, "Oh my gosh, this is never gonna be over." Oh my God, right? Even in the moments where you may have had a breakdown, you made it through every storm. So this one is not gonna be any different. It's gonna run out of rain. Those storms ran out of rain before you ran out of your embers, before you ran out of gumption, before you ran out of hope, before you ran out of, even if you felt like you wanted to throw in the towel, you still made it out. And how do I know? Because we all here right now. Because if we wouldn't have made it out, you would have still been under the covers crying, doing whatever. You wouldn't be here right now. So the storm ran out of rain. You didn't run out of fuel. You didn't run out of gumption. You didn't run out of grit. The storm didn't have nothing on you. It might have felt like it in some moments, but it didn't have nothing on you. You're still here. And guess what? That storm is long gone. You're still here and that rain has dried up. You're still here and that snow has gone away. Right? My godmother said she was in a hurricane. She's still here. The hurricane is gone. It's gone. Like it was a moment in time. The hurricane has come and gone, and she's still here. Y'all remember that earthquake that was in Virginia like years ago, like maybe 10 or 12 years ago? The earthquake came, and we are still here. So the earthquake can do what it wants, the storm can do what it, the rain can do what it wants, the hurricane can do what it wants, and guess what? We still here. You have made it literally through every natural, spiritual, emotional storm that you have endured. And you are still standing, right? You are still standing. You are still here. Storm, right? My cousin Keisha is on. She said, gone, bye bye. The storm is gone. And you are here. Like that's enough to get excited about. And that if that's not your ember, I don't know what your ember can be because the storm is gone and you are present. Period. You won. Period. Period. Right? So last thing as it relates to us being here together and weathering through kind of like holding on to your hope through holiday season, through things happening as you are, here's some just 4 quick practical tips. One, if you are navigating spaces with difficult people, and again, we know when it comes to family gatherings, when it comes to things that maybe situation you may not always want to be in, around friends, around family, around people that you just have to be around, co-workers, things like that. Dealing with difficult people, it's this thing called graceful detachment, right? Where I can show you kindness without engaging in your negativity. So I can say, you know what? It was so nice talking to you, and I can walk away. Graceful detachment. I hope you have a great day. You can say all this and you can be talking about somebody and doing this and all this. And I can be like, you know what? I hope you have a great day. I hope your family is doing well. I will talk to you later. And you walk away, right? Because they don't even know what to do with that. Another one for your boundaries. Don't get in the moment and try to figure out what to do in the moment. Practice before you go get ready to talk to somebody, or you know that you got a presentation, or you want to get somebody straight. You got to say, you know what, ahead of time, no, thank you for thinking of me, but I'm not going to be able to do that this year. Thank you for that suggestion, but I think I'm going to take another route. Right? This is my boundary. I appreciate that, but that's not really what I want right now. Practice that before you go. Or you know what another good one is? No. No. Somebody say something to you, guess your response? No. Complete sentence. My godmom said her job was a hurricane. And you still standing. For family changes, we talked about this a couple nights ago as well. One of the things that you can do, yes, that's it. Don't even entertain it. My cousin Keisha said, don't even entertain it. You don't have to entertain what those people are saying. You can hear it one ear out the other. It was so nice to see you. Oh my gosh, it's been years. It was so good to see you. I have to go over here, but it was good talking to you. Leave them right there. They won't even know what to do. The next thing is family changes. One thing that we can do is honor like people that have passed away or people who may not be with us or able to come to the table for a myriad of reasons. It could be because they may be in a nursing home or rehabilitation center, in the hospital. They may be deceased. How we honor those people: we leave a space for them, we leave a chair for them, we can plant a tree for them, you can light a candle in their honor, right? So you honor them. You tell stories. One thing our family does is we tell stories. So we remember moments with people where we have like funny stories. Like if so and so was here, they would say this. Or if this person was here, they would come in here with this. Or they would have said this to you. We tell stories so it honors them in the sense of, man, we miss them. But also, let's share the greatness of who they were. And our family jokes a lot, so it's like let's share their comedy and things that we know, like phrases we know they would say in certain moments, right? So we keep that alive through that, and we also keep things that belong to them. Like I have some of my great grandmothers, like decorations and scarves and things like that, where I'll wear them during certain holidays, or I have something similar to what she had, and I'll put that up as a way to honor her as well as celebrate at the same time, because we talked about complex emotions. So it's kind of, it's sad in the sense of I miss you, but it's honorable in the sense of, man, I love her, so I'm gonna honor her in this moment. Another, and then the last thing, if you're traveling during this holiday season, plan extra days. So if you go back, and it may be a little late, but you know, as we move forward, when you come back to work, if you go back to work Monday, you might want to come back on Friday or Saturday, because Sunday is a quick turnaround. Or come back Sunday and go back to work Tuesday or Wednesday if you can afford to do that. The other thing is planning times of rest. So if I want to see my family Thursday, I might need to get into town Tuesday, because I might need a day to myself while I see them. Right? Or not packing up your schedule, because if you pack out your schedule, you are not really vacationing. Does that make sense? So if I pack my day at work all week and then I'm on vacation and I pack my schedule from the time I wake up till I go to bed, is it really vacation? Some people might like that. This is just a tip. You can take it, leave it. It's up to you. But plan a rest day in your vacation where you just don't do anything, or you kind of go with the flow. I'm an itinerary girl, I'm gonna be honest, but I have been trying to do better with, you know what, we're gonna kind of go back with the flow versus planning everything. The first day is a day of rest. We don't been flying all day or driving all day or on the train all day. Rest, right? And I'm not packing down. I'm not going driving everywhere to see everybody. I love y'all, but maybe we plan a dinner, because I'm not going here and there and everywhere. But let's plan somewhere everybody can come to a central location. Just things like that to keep yourself together. So those are all the things that we want to talk about kind of tonight, as far as maintaining your hope as well as dealing with difficult situations and people, especially during the holiday season. If you have anything that you want to share, please drop it in the comments, because we are a community, so we want to hear what you want to say. Yes. And my cousin Keisha is also a travel agent. I'm gonna drop that plug in there, right? But she said it's like work when you're bound by timelines. Absolutely. If every day of your vacation, we got to be up by 8, then we got to be here by 10, then we got to be here, and then you're not back until 10 or 11, and then you do it all again. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm tired from the vacation. Day during vacation. Absolutely. Whether you do it in the beginning, the middle, the end, or all three, make sure that you plan that time, because if you don't plan it, you won't take it. That's just it. So thank you all for joining us tonight. I hope that you grab something, or I would, you know what, let's do this tonight because we are ending a little bit early. If everybody can just drop a takeaway, what was your biggest takeaway, or what are you gonna do or try to implement? No, I won't say try to implement. What will you implement moving forward? And Kristen, is there anything else that you want to share as far as things that you want to implement, or how you can encourage somebody to rest and deal with difficult people?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, thank you all for being on. We really appreciate you for coming on. We appreciate you for being part of the conversation. If you have not seen already, we will have our community bonfire. So if you're in the 757 area, if you visit our website is theventmovement.life. We have a community bonfire. It's just a time for us to kick back, relax, set our eyes on 2025, let go of some things that we don't want to take with us, and spark our fire for what we do want to kick off and take into 2025. We also have started our event nightcap. So every Sunday through Thursday night, you can join us here, right here. And we have community conversations centered around rest and relaxing, disconnecting, refreshing, because it's so hard often to disconnect when you're constantly on the move, constantly going. So we're giving and sharing very practical ways to implement that into your day. My cousin Keisha, her takeaway was rest in the midst of. I love that. My godmom Pamela, she said, I'm resting right after this. See, that's it. We have to actually do it and be intentional about it. So again, thank you all for coming on. Thank you all for being part of the conversation. We will see you again if you join us tomorrow for the event nightcap. If not, we will see you on Tuesday. Don't forget to check out our website so you can RSVP for our community bonfire. Chris, any closing words from you?
See y'all next week.
See you next week. Bye, everybody.